Well, it's Monday morning today. It's a bit wetter today, a little bit of rain first thing this morning. And we're going down to drop Nikki off where she's doing her course. Grabbed a bit of breakfast at a cafe in town. While I was in Lymington, I picked up some shopping from the Tesco Express, but had some vouchers and forgot to use them, so I have to remember that next time. Anyway, back to the van now. Got some work to do. I had to stop and have a look at this. Look at that, be a great little project for someone. Imagine doing that up, then popping down the shops on it. Alright, well I'm back at base and I'm in the gazebo, and the idea is I'm going to do some airbrushing in here. I've got a few people who want little bits and pieces done. Ed wants the bee, or a copy of the bee that I did earlier, but he wants to put it outside, so I'm going to do a version with a much harder, thicker lacquer, so it should be more durable outside. Right, not sure how I'm going to set this up, but let's have a go. Well, I tell you, well, hopefully with that little setup there, I won't get any paint on the table or on the gazebo, and it should shelter me from the worst of the wind, although the wind has died down now. Anyway, the first thing is to finish painting the steel blank there in the white. I've got the back done before we came away, but need to get a couple of coats onto the front. Well, would you look at that? Look, bit keen first thing, set off and got a run in the paint straight away. So gonna have to let that harden and sand that off tomorrow, I think. Maybe later today. Now, of course, when you have a bit of a cock up like that, the best thing to do is to stop and put the kettle on and have a brew. I've also taken the opportunity to top off the water tanks. There's a tap just a couple of pitches up, so I was able to do that quite easily. But one of the other people staying on this CL happened to be somebody who used to live next or in the same village as my wife when she was growing up, and used to ride in the horse box with my wife's father's horse when he was going to race meetings. Ah, small world, isn't it? Now, fortunately, I've got another couple of projects to get on with, one of which is this tractor sign project. As you can see, not got very far, but I did start it off back at home before we come away. I'll show you what I got up to so far. Hello again everyone, welcome to a very rainy Cambridgeshire. We've got another airbrush project to do. Well, my neighbour here collects old stationary engines and vintage tractors, and he's bought a case tractor and needs a board to put in front of it with the case logo, just for when he takes it to rallies and such. So we're going to have a go at airbrushing that onto a bit of steel for him. Now, I've got this slightly thicker piece of steel. This is about A3 size, not precisely A3 size, but it's around about that size, and it's actually thicker than the 0.9mm steel I've been using previously. This is about 1.2mm thick steel. Anyway, first job is to round off the corners and smooth the edges with the file there. Right, well that's nicely rounded off on the corners and the edges. Now I'm going to degrease it with a little bit of acetone. Well, now that's nice and clean and non-greasy, it's time to put some primer on it. That looks okay for the primer. Let's get some white on there as a base to spray on. Oh, run out of white paint. Gonna have to go and get some more. Well, there you go. Now it has suffered a little bit in the van on the way here. This is only a very soft primer. It's had a couple of little rubs. I did try and protect it with some cushions and such, but has suffered a bit. So I'm going to give it another flash over with the primer filler so we can get rid of any uneven bits and pieces. Oh, well, as you might have seen, I'm having trouble with the amount of wind. I opened this up because I don't really want to get paint on the gazebo, but there is too much wind really whizzing around here and it's blowing the spray everywhere. So I think I'm going to move this table back so there's less chance of the overspray getting on the sides of the gazebo, and close this up, I think. See how we get on. Righto, well that does seem bit better. It makes it a bit warmer in here actually, and the light's not as good, but nevertheless we won't get the spray blowing everywhere so much, I don't think. Yeah, I've already got a few little bits and pieces of grit stuck in there, which I've touched off with a little bit of 800 grit paper. So I am now just going to put one more coat on there. Yeah, that's much better, I think. Well, of course, now I've got to leave that to dry, and I want to get that nice and dry because I don't want that to get mucked up when I move it. So fortunately I've got another little project to be getting on with, which is this fella in a canoe I'm going to try and do. And I think the first thing really is I'm going to cut out the chap and the canoe as a sort of silhouette, and this tree branch as well. So that's the first little job on that project. Well, I have actually got this one matte black blank already sprayed, so I'm now going to mask this up with the canoe and the branch, using the other bit as a sort of a guide. You'll see what I mean, I think. Don't really know what I'm doing myself, but we'll work it out as we go along. It is of course important to remember as well that I am on holiday, so time to stop for some lunch and another brew. Well, obviously couldn't bring the big compressor out the garage, so I've got this little small compressor I got off eBay. It's got a little air cylinder below, so I'm hoping it'll be okay. It's just coming up to pressure now. What pressure have we got? Oh, well, we're up to nearly 50 psi. I don't need 50 psi, I need it at 30, so should be able to adjust it on this regulator. Let's have a go. Yeah, there we go, bang on 30. Right, let's give it a go. Better not overdo it, eh? Time for another break. Cheers. Righto, back to it. Ah, there we go. Not too bad, I don't think. Now it's time to go and get Nikki. Well, if you'd like to buy one of my airbrush paintings, you can do so off my Etsy shop. Just search in Etsy for Ttxela airbrush. I'll put a link in the description below. Well, that's all for now. If you enjoyed it, press like, subscribe if you want to see some more, and ring the bell to be notified when we upload something new.